We want to thank everybody for being here today on behalf of the city, behalf of the city council, fire department, the police department, public safety. We really appreciate this great turnout. This is amazing. We were expecting maybe a dozen or so people, but we're going to estimate here into the hundreds. Today, we are not just celebrating the opening of a firehouse. Today marks the milestone in a long transition to professionalizing, to adapting, to transitioning a public safety department that could handle the modern needs of the city of Maplewood. You're gonna hear from a number of people who made that happen today. Unfortunately, our city manager, Melinda Coleman, can't be here, but she wanted us, on behalf, again, the city and city council, to thank one of the people most responsible for the day-to-day, both building this station and transitioning this fire department, Chief Mike Mondor. He's been an absolute leader in some harrowing times. Overall, it came in on budget, on time, and we appreciate that. And with that, I'll introduce Chief Mondor.
Thank you, Mr. Sheeran. I'd also like to thank those that have stepped before us and helped create what Maplewood Fire Department is and it will be. There's several retirees and family members of those that helped charter the fire department. I'd also like to recognize retired Fire Chief Steve Lucan, who was instrumental in professionalizing and advancing the Maplewood Fire Department. Steve's in the crowd. And you don't build a beautiful facility like this without strong financial planning and community support. And our finance director, Ellie Paulseth, is unable to be here today, but I just wanted to acknowledge all the work that she put together to make sure that we had the funding to be able to put together a day like today. And I know that Mayor Abrams has several more thank yous, and with that, I will hand it over to Mayor Mary Lee Abrams.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Joe. Welcome, everyone. This is an important day to celebrate in our community. It marks 4 years of hard work, collaboration, and the dedication of so many people who made this new fire station a reality. Without each individual's invaluable contribution, we would not be here today. I want to begin by thanking our city manager, Melinda Coleman. Her vision and dedication to our city started the ball rolling 5 years ago. Her goal was to ensure effective and strategic delivery of fire EMS services with an eye to the future. She began by developing an engagement process that started with hiring consultants from Fitch & Associates to collect and review data about our current delivery of fire EMS services in Maplewood, with an eye, again, towards our future needs. She not only had a vision, but she also brought it to reality. Thank you, Melinda. I normally like to just speak, but I have so many people in this room that I want to thank, so I have to make sure that I thank absolutely everybody, because this was truly a team effort, and it was a labor of love, I know, for many of you. So I want to make sure I touch on everybody. So after Melinda, the next step was to tap into our community resources through the creation of an EMS task force that was comprised of citizens, staff, and advisors to help shape our future fire service plans. I want to thank everyone who served on the EMS task force for their vision and their extensive time commitment, including Bill Knutson, who now serves on our city council. I want to thank past and present council members who were instrumental in this process and supported the extensive planning and financial commitment to creating the future of our fire service, including former council members Brian Smith, Tu Zhang, and Sylvia Neblett, and former Mayor Nora Slawick. I also want to thank current council members Bill Knutson, Kathleen Juniman, Rebecca Cave, and Nikki Villavicencio. I'm proud to say that I served with each one of them through the many discussions and votes that it took to deliver this new fire station to our community, and all of them were in full support. I want to thank and acknowledge the work of former public safety directors Paul Schnell and Scott Nadeau, and our current public safety director, Brian Beardeman. Their leadership and professionalism helped shape the new fire station project, ensuring that it was designed for the safety of both our staff and our community. I also want to thank former Fire Chief Steve Lucan and our current Fire Chief Mike Mondor for their visionary leadership and advocacy that inspired everyone to believe that we could truly reshape our fire delivery service, transform into a full-time fire department, and build a new state-of-the-art fire station. I am grateful for their professionalism and their tenacity. Let's give those two gentlemen a hand. Thanks, Steve. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge our important partnerships with our state legislators, Senator Chuck Uyghur, Senator Susan Kent, and Representatives Tu Zhang, Leon Lilly, and Peter Fisher. They were instrumental in passing key legislation that saved our community about $500,000 on building material tax costs. Their legislation helped us, and in turn made it possible for all communities embarking on building new public safety facilities the same opportunity to save on the tax costs of building materials. This was a big savings for Maplewood and will be for all other communities in Minnesota. Thank you, legislators. They're here. Do you want to raise your hands, please? There we go. Thank you, legislators. I want to thank our fire EMS staff. The work that you do, and I see some of them in the background back there, the work that you do, we'll give you a hand too. Thank you. The work that you do for us is challenging every single day. It goes without saying that you have endured through 4 years of transitions from a part-time service to a full-time department, from 3 outdated stations to today. We now have 2 well-equipped, state-of-the-art fire stations that will position us well to deliver excellent fire and EMS services into the future. This new fire station is a testament to our gratefulness for your service to the residents and businesses in Maplewood. I also want to thank our Maplewood senior leadership team and staff. Everyone at the city played a part in the development and the build of this new fire station. Thank you to Joe Sheeran and his communication department for keeping us all informed. I think my favorite was one of the videos of the demolition of the old 40-year-old fire station that once stood here. Some of you probably remember that old fire station, and looking out and seeing friendly faces, I remembered my old friend Janie and I used to be Cub Scout leaders. We brought our Cub Scouts here. My son is now 32 years old, so that should tell you how long ago that was. And we thought that it was a pretty nifty fire station. Well, I'm telling you, when you take the tour today, it is nothing compared to what we have here today. I also want to thank Michael Folds and our IT department for ensuring that we had all the technology we needed to operate this new wonderful station. I want to thank Steve Love and our Public Works Department, who helped so much with site preparation and maintenance. Thank you again to our Finance Director, Ellen Paulseth, at our Finance Department. They were responsible for figuring out how we could finance this project, and they made sure that we did it in a fiscally responsible way. Thank you to our Parks and Natural Resources Manager, Audra Robbins, and her staff for advocating for tree preservation. You'll see the old tree that we saved out there, and also for the site prep and all the beautiful plantings that we have here. Thank you to the Community Development Director, Jeff Thompson, and his staff for all your help with construction inspections. Thank you to everyone else at City Hall who had a hand in bringing this project to a successful completion. And finally, I want to thank our residents. So many of you I recognize out there. It's just wonderful to see you here. And I want to thank our businesses too for their continued support and their visionary commitment that this new fire station was a necessity for the safety of our community. I'm grateful for everyone who has helped along the way in the planning and the construction of this amazing new fire department. If I have forgotten to include anyone, then please accept my apologies. I am humbled to serve as the mayor and to have the honor of soon uncoupling the fire hose, signifying the formal opening of this wonderful new asset to our community. Thank you for coming today and for celebrating with us in the opening of our new fire station. Thank you, everyone.
Uh-oh, here comes the old lady. I'm so old. See, I'm like a lot of you here. I remember when the Hazelwood station was semi-new. Okay, that's a while ago. And as we all know, when it got hit by the shovel, it was anything but new. This is a phenomenal facility. Wait till you take the tour. It's almost, and Mary Lee said back to 2015, but when you've been here a little while, we actually started talking about something like this in 2010. So here we are 12 years later, and with some very good planning and all the people you heard putting in their expertise, here we are. It's phenomenal. But I want to do a little bit of history, just a piece. Don't worry, I won't be here all afternoon. But if we're going to help, or we're going to thank everybody who's helped along the way, let's go all the way back to the 50s when we had volunteer stations. They were our mini community centers. I was a kid, I skated over East County line all the time, every winter. And those people came when that bell went off, and they came from all their houses, middle of the night, whenever, and came to help. Okay, so we evolved through years of that, and they kept us really well taken care of, let's face it. And then the world started to change. And so then we went to paid per call. And what happened? Well, 2 parents in a house both went to work. There's no one to answer the calls. So that's when you start thinking, this might need to be a full-time job. And so, like she said, with the vision of a city manager who knew where we had to go and how to do it, she pulled in the expert people, and here we are. We have a phenomenal facility, surpassed only, I think, by the staff. We have a wonderful public safety staff. Police and fire. You should feel so relaxed living here when it comes to the safety of your home and your life. That's something that isn't in every community. So tonight, when you look above, if that's what you do before you go to bed, say thank you for all the wonderful people who keep us safe every day. And thank all the people before us who help push us this direction. Here we are. State-of-the-art building, fabulous staff. You're in good hands. Thank you for coming.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bill Knutson, City Council. I'm just going to talk a few minutes about, I'm going to talk a little bit more about community than the others. And then when I'm just about finished, I'm going to tell you a lot about Michael Mondor that most of you don't know. So I'm thinking of the word basic needs. When you're looking at a community, a family, what do you really need? And you need basic needs. You need housing, you need streets, you need infrastructure. And overall, you need to be safe and feel safe. Most of the time, you don't even think about it. But there are a lot of people that do. And in 2016, I joined a group of citizens that helped Michael and Steve and Paul Snell, our Public Works Director, really lay out a detailed plan. When I say detailed plan, I meant everything from 24-hour staffing to how many runs are we going to take, what about the length of time it takes to go from the station to your house that's burning. Very hard questions. We asked all those hard questions. We had 5 other citizens from the community, and we were engaged very deeply in planning this, and we felt ownership to get it right. And so when I say basic needs, we did, I think, put together an incredible basic plan. What I also figured out in the last 4 years working on it, we don't do anything basic. Maplewood does things very well, and we do it in a very prudent fashion. So we get this kind of thing in a very effective and good way. So the task force, again, was an incredible thing. We had lots of data, we had lots of support, and again, the staff. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges. We had 24-hour staffing that we had to deal with. We had a volunteer group. We had to go to look at professional. We had all the support we needed to make those difficult decisions. So what we learned was amazing. My background is healthcare. I was developed and was at St. John's for 25 years. In fact, one of my colleagues is in the back row, one of the ER docs that I worked with for many years. Good to see him here. But I thought I knew a lot. But when I sat with this gentleman and Steve Lucan and learned about the detail involved in supporting emergency medicine and fire services, I was absolutely impressed and still am to this day. So again, what I want to mention again is the community volunteers in our commissions. To get this thing in the right place, to get everything in the right zone, we have a planning commission. To make it look appealing to the neighborhood and the community, we have a design review board. We have an environmental group that looks carefully at what impact we have on the forest and fauna and the drain water and everything else. We have a group that works on parks. We have many, many volunteer citizens. Now, I guess in closing, I just want to say that it really is the community. I mentioned all those volunteers that help us with our commissions, and they are incredibly supportive of everything we do. Makes our jobs very easy, and it's an honor to serve all of you. I made up the thing about Michael just to hold your attention. He's a really good guy, and we enjoy working with him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Knudsen, and thank you for never passing up an opportunity to pick on me a little bit. But thank you to Mayor Abrams, members of the council, our community, and all of the department heads that helped forge this project forward. And also thank you to those that are here and past and present that paved the way to create what Maplewood Fire has become today. We're forever grateful and will not forget those that allowed us to stand in front of you today. This state-of-the-art facility contains several state-of-the-art features that will allow our firefighters to be safe when they're protecting our community. This cancer mitigation, one of the leading causes of firefighter death, is job-related cancer. We have yellow, red, and green zones so that firefighters can adequately decontaminate themselves and their turnout gear and return to their living area with the goal of allowing them to return home. Cardiac arrest and cardiac-related disease is the leading cause of firefighter death. We have a state-of-the-art workout facility to allow firefighters to focus on their physical health and well-being. And also mental health is an emerging crisis for public safety professionals, and we have several spaces where the firefighters can leave and try to recharge their batteries in between their calls as they're here to serve the community's needs 24 hours a day. I would like to thank our architect, Short Elliott Hendrickson, SEH, and our construction manager, Kraus Anderson, for helping make this facility come to reality. And finally, I'd like to thank our Maplewood firefighters who are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to meet our community's needs. They strive to serve each person they encounter as if they would want their loved ones to be treated. And I'm proud to work beside them today, and we'll be happy to have them up here in a minute to help with the hose uncoupling. Thank you all for coming. There will be tours and refreshments in a couple moments. We're going to quick do the hose uncoupling to formally recognize the opening of the new North Firestation, and then firefighters will be here to show you through this beautiful facility.
It is only appropriate to cut a ribbon, and I love cutting ribbons when we have new businesses and new places that open up in our city. This is so appropriate. I get to uncouple a fire hose. I can say I've never done this before.